My daughter came to me crying, whispering, "Auntie slapped me," because I scored higher than her son. I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice. I took her straight to urgent care. And after that, I quietly began making moves that made my brother's wife regret it. My daughter came to me crying and whispered, "Auntie slapped me because I scored higher than Noah." That's how it started. No warning. No lead up. Just those exact words, like she wasn't even sure if she was allowed to say them out loud. I was in the kitchen halfway through rinsing dishes when she walked in. Her voice was low, but her face said everything. Her left cheek was visibly red and I could already see where the skin was puffing slightly. She wasn't sobbing or screaming, and somehow that made it worse. Like she didn't even know how to react. Like she was trying to figure out if maybe she'd done something wrong. She was 13. In 8th grade. A bright kid. She'd just gotten her first A+ in math, something we'd been working hard on all semester. I'd seen the test myself. She got everything right. Every single question. She was proud, even shyly so. But apparently that was enough to set off Adele. Adele is my brother's wife. To outsiders, she's this polished, proper woman who wears gold chains with little crosses and talks about gratitude and patience. But to anyone who's been around her long enough, there's a bitterness that slips through the cracks. Especially when it comes to kids. Her son Noah, my nephew, is the golden boy. She's always comparing him to the other cousins. He plays 3 sports, his handwriting is neat, he can solve a Rubik's Cube in under a minute. She never misses a chance to bring that one up. Mia? She's the quiet one. Basic. Not flashy. Not competitive. She finally beat Noah in something, and that was apparently enough of a crime for Adele to hit her. According to Mia, it happened after lunch. The kids were doing homework together at Adele's house. Mia showed Noah and the others her test score, just happy and excited. Adele saw it, didn't say anything right away. Then when the kids went to the kitchen to grab snacks, Adele asked Mia to come help her with something in the laundry room. That's where it happened. No yelling. No warning. Just a hard slap to the side of her face and a whisper telling her not to show off. I didn't ask questions. I didn't call anyone. I took Mia straight to urgent care. The doctor checked her face and ear. There was swelling and the slap had caused mild trauma to the inner ear. She said Mia might have some hearing sensitivity and pain for a few days. I asked for full documentation. Photos. Notes. A printed medical report. When we got home, Mia went to her room. She didn't ask what I was going to do. She just looked tired. I sat in my car in the driveway for a while before going inside. I stared at the steering wheel, thinking about how many times I'd ignored Adele's comments. Her passive-aggressive digs. The way she always managed to mention how some kids these days are too soft, or how competition builds character. I thought about the Christmas when she told Mia not to wear makeup because it made her look like she was trying too hard. Mia was 11. This woman put her hands on my child. Not in frustration. Not in some heat-of-the-moment chaos. She called her aside, brought her into a separate room and hit her. For being proud of herself. I didn't scream. I didn't go over there. I didn't even call my brother. Instead, I started a paper trail. Then I opened the family group chat and dropped the message that would light everything on fire. Adele hit Mia today. Slapped her in the face because she scored higher than Noah. We went to urgent care. There's a medical report and photos. I've filed a police report. I sat there and watched the read receipts roll in. No one responded for a full minute. Then the first message came through. From my brother. One sentence. "You seriously went to the cops over this? Not is she okay? Not what happened. Just disbelief that I had actually done something about it." That was when I realized how alone we were about to be in this. But it didn't matter. Because this wasn't going to get swept under the rug. Not this time. The second message came from my mom. "Sir, this is family. You don't involve the police over a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding. My daughter had a handprint on her face and a doctor's report confirming trauma to her ear. But sure, let's call it a misunderstanding. Then my aunt chimed in, trying to mediate like she always does, telling everyone that things like this should be handled within the family and that I was taking things too far. My brother's second message followed right after. "You're going to ruin Adele's life over a slap? You think you're a saint or something? Look at what you're doing. You want her arrested? You want Noah's mom taken away from him?" That was the point. They all shifted the conversation. Suddenly, Adele was the victim. Not Mia. No one asked to see the medical report. No one asked how Mia was feeling. All they cared about was the fallout. The consequences. For Adele. It hit me then. They didn't want peace. They wanted silence. They wanted me to just sit with it like they had so many other things. And I think deep down they believed I would. That I'd calm down, talk to Adele privately, cry it out maybe. Let it go for the sake of family. But I didn't. I sent one final message before I left the group. If any of you think protecting Adele is more important than protecting Mia, then don't ever ask me to keep your secrets. You made your choice. So did I. Then I blocked the thread. Later that night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was Adele. Her message was short and smug. She said she didn't know what kind of story Mia had cooked up, but if I thought I could drag her name through the mud, she had a few stories of her own. She said she wasn't afraid of mothers like me. I saved the voicemail. 2 days later, a detective called to follow up on the report. They'd reviewed the photos and medical files and they wanted to talk to both Mia and me in person. I scheduled it immediately. What Adele didn't know, and what no one else in my family even considered, was that I had quietly started documenting everything over the years. Not just for this, for other things too. The time Adele screamed at Mia at a birthday party because she spilled juice on Noah's backpack. The time she told me maybe Mia wasn't emotionally strong enough to be in public school. All the backhanded comments. I had texts, voice messages, everything saved. I'd been passive for years. But that slap flipped a switch. It wasn't about family anymore. It was about justice. And I was just getting started. The meeting with the detective was calm, straightforward. Mia told them exactly what happened. No dramatics. Just facts. She said Adele told her not to act like she was better than Noah. That smart girls don't make good wives. Then she slapped her. Hard. The detective didn't look surprised. He just nodded, took notes, and asked if Adele had done anything like this before. Mia hesitated. Then she said, not like this. But she always says mean things. She always makes me feel small. I was watching from across the table and realized how much I'd missed. The little comments, the way Mia would come home quiet after being around Adele, how she'd stopped bringing up her own accomplishments. Adele had been chipping away at her confidence for years, and I let it happen because I didn't want conflict. That guilt turned into fuel. By the time we left the station, the detective said he'd be reaching out to Adele for a formal interview. That she'd likely be contacted by Child Protective Services too, since Mia was a minor. He said in plain terms that this was assault and emotional abuse, and that depending on the DA, this could go further than just a warning. And here's the part one didn't expect. Once Adele got that call, she panicked. It didn't take 24 hours before she started trying to rewrite the story. She texted me, long messages filled with fake apologies, calling it a misunderstanding, claiming she barely touched Mia, saying she was under stress. She even tried to play the mom card, saying I'd understand if I had more than one kid because sometimes kids just push you. Then she pivoted. She started reaching out to my relatives, trying to collect sympathy, spinning the story like Mia was disrespectful, that she was mouthing off and Adele lost her temper for a second. But I had already taken the next step. I sent every voice message, every screenshot, every toxic group chat message to the detective. I printed the voicemail she left me, the one where she said Mia cooked up a story. I handed it all over. And then something unexpected happened. One of my cousins, Caitlin, called me privately. She told me Adele had once grabbed her daughter's arm so hard she left bruises during a family gathering at their house. She said she never spoke up because her husband told her it would blow over. But now, after hearing what happened to Mia, she wasn't willing to stay quiet anymore. She said if the police needed a statement, she'd give one. That's when I realized Adele had been doing this for years. Not just to my kid. And the silence in the family? It wasn't about loyalty. It was about fear. About keeping up appearances. But now people were talking. Quietly. Carefully. Like they were testing the air. Adele wasn't just an angry woman who snapped one time. She was a problem that had gone unchecked for way too long. And I was finally pulling the thread. Adele didn't show up to the first interview with the detective. She sent a lawyer instead. Some smug guy who tried to claim this was a disciplinary misunderstanding between close family, and that it had spiraled unnecessarily due to overreaction. The detective wasn't amused. He asked the lawyer one question. If Adele denied touching Mia, The lawyer said Adele had no comment at that time. That was a mistake. Because the voicemail where she called Mia a liar? The text where she admitted she slapped her but said it wasn't hard? The stories from Caitlin and 2 other family members who'd quietly come forward since I filed the report? All of that was now evidence. The detective told me they were opening a formal investigation and pushing for charges. When that news reached the family group chat, which I was still blocked from, apparently chaos broke out. One of my cousins sent me screenshots. My brother was livid, saying I was hell-bent on destroying his family, that I was turning everyone against them. Someone else tried to reason that maybe Adele had made a mistake, but she didn't deserve jail. Jail. That word had finally made its way into the conversation. No more sugarcoating. No more misunderstanding excuses. Meanwhile, Adele's picture-perfect mask was cracking. The school found out. Mia's guidance counselor called me. They had received an anonymous tip about a student experiencing abuse at home by a relative. I told them it was true, but not at our home. At a relative's. They were required to file their own internal report. It was protocol. Then it hit Adele professionally. Her side business, a parenting and lifestyle blog with a decent following, started taking a hit. She made one vague post about betrayal and lies, but someone, not me, had already leaked screenshots of her text to a local parenting Facebook group. People saw the words slapped her for showing off, and it spread like fire. She lost brand deals. A local boutique that sponsored her posts publicly cut ties. Her follower count dropped fast. Still, my brother stayed loyal. I got a voicemail from him after almost 3 weeks of silence. He said I was sick, that I was jealous of Adele, of their stable family, of the fact that Noah had 2 parents and Mia didn't. He said I was doing all this because I couldn't control my own life, and now wanted to ruin theirs. I didn't respond. I forwarded the voicemail to the detective. A few days later, Adele was officially charged with misdemeanor child abuse and battery. The family exploded. My mother called crying, begging me to think of what this will do to the kids if Adele is dragged through court. I asked her whose kids she was thinking of, because mine had to go to sleep every night wondering if anyone would believe her. She didn't have an answer. Noah stopped coming to school for a while. Mia noticed. She asked if it was because of what happened. I told her the truth. Maybe, but that wasn't her fault. What Adele did wasn't just a slap. It was the culmination of years of undermining, demeaning, and abusing power over kids who were too polite, or too scared, to push back. She thought no one would believe Mia. She counted on the silence. But not this time. This time the silence broke. The court date was set for early fall. Adele showed up in a navy suit, minimal makeup, trying to look fragile. Her lawyer tried to negotiate a deal before we even stepped inside the courtroom. No jail time, no record, just parenting classes and an apology letter. I said no. I didn't care about the apology letter. I wanted the truth on paper. I wanted it to be real, documented, permanent. Not another slap on the wrist, buried under family whispers. She pled not guilty. But her own words betrayed her. The texts, the voicemail, the screenshots, the testimonies, they all came together like puzzle pieces. And then the biggest blow hit her. The detective had reached out to Caitlin again, and this time she agreed to give an official statement. She described her daughter being yanked by the arm so hard at a family party that she had bruises the next day. She remembered Adele saying maybe now she'll listen. And she remembered choosing silence because of family, because of fear. But not anymore. Caitlin testified. No emotion, just facts. The room was dead quiet. Adele's lawyer tried to paint it as an emotional misunderstanding, a high-stress environment, a disciplinary moment that went too far. But the prosecution laid it all out. Adele isolated a child, assaulted her, then lied repeatedly and attempted to manipulate the narrative when she was caught. That wasn't discipline. That was abuse. When the verdict came in, I felt nothing at first. Just stillness. Guilty. She was sentenced to 30 days in county jail, 2 years of probation, court-ordered parenting and anger management classes, and mandatory no contact with Mia. The family unraveled. My brother tried to appeal, but it was thrown out. He hasn't spoken to me since the sentencing. My mother still sends me sad quotes about forgiveness. Adele's blog is gone. Noah transferred schools. Mia stood taller the day we left court. She didn't say much, just slipped her hand in mine as we walked back to the car. I could tell she finally felt like someone had fought for her. That what happened to her mattered. And that matters more than anything else. It's been 7 months since the sentencing. Adele served her 30 days. She didn't get special treatment like she probably expected. She came home quieter, less polished. She stayed off social media, stopped showing up to family events. The woman who used to strut around family gatherings like a queen now avoids even the grocery store on weekends. I still haven't heard a single apology. Not from her. Not from my brother. Not from anyone who tried to guilt me into silence. But here's the thing they didn't understand. This was never about revenge. It was about correction. Adele thought she could cross a line, hurt someone who couldn't fight back, and be shielded by the title of family. She thought if she smiled enough, dressed nice enough, manipulated hard enough, she could twist things her way. He was wrong. My brother filed for separation a few months ago. Quietly. I heard from someone on his side of the family that the pressure was too much, that he finally admitted she had gone too far. But he still blames me. Says I could have handled it differently. I don't care anymore. Family is not a shield for abuse. Being related to someone doesn't give them immunity. What matters now is Mia. He's doing better. Her confidence is returning in ways I didn't expect. She's speaking up in class, she joined the school's math team, and she's working on a mural with the art club. She still asks questions about what happened sometimes. About why no one else stood up for her. I tell her the truth. That adults fail to. That silence is often just cowardice dressed up as loyalty. And that what she did, telling me, was the bravest part of the whole thing. A few of the relatives who turned on us early on have tried to reconnect. Sent cards. Soft little texts. I haven't responded. I don't hold grudges, but I remember the silence. Adele lost everything she built her identity on. Her image, her influence, her place in the family. And the best part? I never had to scream, threaten, or beg anyone to believe us. I just kept receipts. I stayed quiet, steady, and patient. Justice didn't come with fireworks. Came with paperwork. With photos. With truth. And sometimes that's louder than anything else.